Hey, he's really. Wow, what was that? We looked at him and we said, that guy's really smart. We got to hire him. And he joined us. We were able to land him, and he's helped us grow to over 1,200 partners that are marketing to over almost 1 million local businesses around the world, and in large part to some of the efforts of Devin and his team. So I want to just to introduce the charities. Children's Wish Foundation, Ronald McDonald House, all the proceeds of the drink tickets and the 50-50 draw are going to those guys. Vendasta is going to have a team in the FMG Dragon Boat Festival for the third year in a row this year. And that's going to be on July 20th and 21st. All of the proceeds that are raised in that event are going to go to the two charities. If I could just have Fatima Muhammad come up and say a couple of words on behalf of both of those charities. I'd appreciate it. Come on up.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. I am Fatima Mohammed, and I work at Ronald McDonald House as a family service associate. I get to see the families when they check into the house, and we work very closely with Children's Wish organization. So I am very happy to see all of you guys coming together to support this wonderful charity organization. So I'm going to say a few words about both the charities, and I brought some newsletters with me. And if you guys want to know anything about the house or how we help the families across Saskatchewan, there's a newsletter at the front out there. So thank you so much. So Ronald McDonald House Charity Saskatchewan was officially built in 1985. The initial funding came through fundraising events like you guys are doing. So the McDonald Restaurant is our biggest sponsor. Also Kinsman Foundation, individuals, and lots of fundraising events. So in 2014, we had a big capital fundraising event where the house used to be 13 rooms. So back in the days in 2014, we used to turn away every 3 phone calls we get, we used to turn away 2. So after the big renovation, the house was built from 13 rooms to 34. So right now the house is full, there's 34 families, and it takes up to 100 people at a time. As I said, we work very close, especially events like Dragon Boat Race, and we both support same families. So sometimes you will see family who got a wish granted through the Children's Wish Foundation. They will also be coming at the house. So in the cover of our house newsletter, there's one family who stayed at the house. It's the young family, that little guy. He was 16-year-old who stayed at the house. He had a chemo, and he was going through a lot of treatment. He had cancer, and it's also one of the family that got wish from the Wish Foundation. So that being said, Dragon Boat event is one of our signature events, and lots of people from Saskatchewan, especially Saskatoon, they build teams, do a lot of fundraising events, and the cost, both charity organizations, they split the cost. So I'm gonna share a little bit of story about this family. So Chad was the little fellow on the cover board. He was a 16-year-old kid, and in 2015, he was very hardworking, very happy kid. He never complained, but one time he was biking his ride, and he fell from his bike on 2015, and he had a little back sore. So the family wanted to go check out with his physician, and unfortunately, they had to hear the worst news that any family could expect, that he had a cancer. So since then, the journey was like a lot. Chad, he unfortunately passed away. So feel free to read that newsletter, and your fundraising, everything that you're doing today, it's like, it has a huge impact for all the family that stays at the house. So on behalf of the family that are in the house today, from Children's Wish Organization, from Ronald McDonald House, I would like to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for helping us support these charities. Buy a 50-50 ticket, buy some beer. Remember, please drink responsibly as well. Don't drink and drive. I'm going to bring up our very first speaker. The topic at hand here is personal branding. Devin Hennig he's a funny guy. I don't mean funny looking, I mean like funny, haha. Also a really smart guy, as I mentioned earlier on, responsible for our demand generation tactics here. Brilliant marketer. We're lucky to have him on our team at Vendasta. We're lucky to have him speaking here tonight. Come on up, Devin.
Test? There we go. Hello, Saskatoon! Yeah. I don't get to say that often anymore. I live in Toronto now, so hold the hate, okay? Hold the hate. I'm originally from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Any Speedy Creek people here? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, I'm shocked because I was in St. John's, Newfoundland last weekend getting screeched in, as you do in St. John's. And the guy who was screeching me in asked me, where are you from? And I said, Swift Current, Saskatchewan. He said, no way! Did you know that the original Swift Current is in Newfoundland? And I just like broke down. I didn't know how to react to that. I had an identity crisis. I'm like, what? They beat us to it? I don't know. So it's been a rough week for me. But anyways, I'm Devin Hennig. I'm a writer. I'm a marketer. I speak at things like this every once in a while. And I'm delighted to be here today to talk about personal branding. So a funny branding story to kick us off, I guess. Who has been to an Ideas on Tap before? Raise your hands nice and high. Okay. Who's been coming to Ideas on Tap for a year or more? Okay, some hands. How about 2 years or more? Okay, very few. The first Ideas on Tap was March 8th, 2013, which means we just kind of passed that landmark of 5 years at Ideas on Tap. So big round of applause for this big event. Does anybody know where the name or branding for Ideas on Tap came from? Beer, okay. Close. So before Ideas on Tap, Vendasta actually had a different event called Demo Day. And this is when the company was smaller. We would all crowd in that room over there. We could all fit. And every Friday, we'd knock off early around 3 p.m. and we would drink beer. And anybody could come up and present anything. It was open to the community. You could talk about work projects. You could talk about things that you were developing in your personal life, like video games. You could share your family vacation photos, which was very boring, and we're happy no one does that anymore. But at some point, like we were doing that for a long time, and then other companies around town started doing it, which is cool, but we're competitive. We like to hang on to prideful things. So one day, Brendan and Jeff and Alan, some of the co-founders, came down to the marketing area and said, look, we need to do this bigger and better. You guys come up with a name, put some branding together, we'll put some posters, get a website, let's market the bejesus out of this, and like turn this into an actual thing. Go! And then they left. And our small marketing team at the time just kind of looked at each other. We're like, well, we don't have time to do this. So I went on Google and I typed tech event beer, enter. And the first thing that came up was it was a music forum. So I clicked that, and the first comment in there was a guy who I think he was just promoting one of his events, and he said, hey, musicians, bring your instruments, come down to this bar. There are going to be, we're just going to jam. There's going to be a lot of tunes, a lot of beer, Ideas on Tap. It's going to be great. Come on down. And I'm like, that's cool. Copy, paste, onto the posters, onto the website. 5 years later, we're still using it, which is just hilarious to me that there's probably some like wannabe musician in his mom's basement right now who has no idea that his random internet comment turned into this. But that's just how it goes, I guess. And that sets the stage for this presentation, because none of this is really from my own brain. I've compiled a lot of research and things that smarter people have told me that I've found have worked. So I just kind of like borrow the best stuff, use it in my career, swear on my gravestone. It's just going to say, like, there's nothing you can sing that can't be sung. There's nothing you can do that can't be done, because I embrace that. So a little bit, if I can find the clicker here. Do I have a clicker? I don't have a clicker. That was a pen. That's this pen that's shining in my eye right now. Rookie mistake. Thank you. Okay. This looks like it detonates something. Green. Okay, so from my website, this is, I guess if I was a product, just my tagline, fueling lean, mean sales machines. I say that I stumbled into lead generation and marketing accidentally and have loved it ever since, and that's true. I've been here for a while now, and Vendasta's grown immensely. I've been able to follow along and contribute to that. I've helped generate 1,200 partners for the company. We're in over 50 countries, grown the marketing team tenfold. So it's been a really fun rocket ship to be riding on. Even more impressive, I think, are some of the results that the company's been able to see. So I joke, I kind of think that a lot of awards are like the points and whose line is it anyway. They're made up and they don't matter. But these three I would consider the exception. So for Vendasta, we've been recognized multiple years in a row on the Deloitte Fast 50 and Fast 500 lists for some of the fastest growth, not only in Canada, but in North America. Now, why am I talking about my corporate accomplishments when this is a discussion on personal branding? And I think that's because if you're trying to build a personal brand, you have to treat it like a brand. And if you think about it, what do brands compete over? Brands compete over consumers' attention. If you're trying to build a personal brand, you are going to be competing for the same thing, people's attention. And attention is, in marketing right now, the most valuable commodity that there is. There's only one feed on your phone you're scrolling through, and everyone's fighting to get into it. So if you're really trying to build a personal brand where you're looking to get a job or sell something, you have to take it that seriously. So this is a slide that we use a lot at Vendasta. I'll quickly describe it. This is how marketers and brands think about what we call the consumer journey and the business journey, but I'm going to relate this to personal branding and how similar it actually is. So the gist of this whole thing is that nobody goes from being a complete stranger to a business to a raving fan in a split second. There is a continuum, there is a journey that people go on that starts at awareness. Do they know about you? Can they find you? Are you where they're looking? Do they trust you when they look you up online? Is there good comments on there, mentions, all that kind of fun stuff? Can they buy from you? Is your website decent? And then will they spread the good word? Are they going to advocate for you? So this talk, I don't have time to talk about everything on this list because we'd be here till next week. But I want to cover at least one or two really important things from each phase of this journey that you can take home and implement in your own kind of personal brand marketing. So where I want to start is the end. I think from the buyer perspective, this makes sense, but from the business or the personal branding perspective, you have to start there and work your way the other way. So for conversion, what I really just want to talk about, let's start simple. Let's start with the website. Who here has a personal website? And I'm not talking about a website for your business. I'm talking about like devinhennig.com or joshbaker.com or adambizanette.com. Who has a personal website? Not that many people. Okay, you all showed up to a talk on personal branding. I'm tempted to say go home and get your website before we continue, but don't. Please don't. There's a 50-50 and some fun stuff. So for a personal website, I'm fascinated by user experience and stories that we tell on websites and how to optimize that. This is a recent study that ThriveHive did. You can click the link. We'll give you the slides and everything afterwards so you can read the whole thing. But this was looking at some of the biggest personal influencers and personal brands out there. Gary Vaynerchuk, Celeste, Tim Ferriss. They looked at all of these really, really successful personal brands, and they compared their websites. They crunched numbers, they kind of analyzed them and put them side by side and tried to design the perfect homepage. So a couple of things that came out of this that I'd want to point out. One example, this is Celeste. So Celeste focuses on like personal improvement in marketing, and her original website back in the day, very text heavy, kind of an old school website, said, "Welcome to personal excellence." Today, fast forward, her website looks like this. It's, a lot more modern. She's got herself right there in the hero image with kind of a welcome statement. She's got these proof points that shows like media outlets she's worked with, and then some of her important content. And one of the lessons to learn from Celeste here is actually on the text itself, the copy. She ditched her original headline. It was very hello world, welcome to personal excellence. Now, she's made it cleaner, she's made it more you-focused, and it's less abstract. And I think that's one of the most important things to think about with personal branding. It's called personal branding, but it's not about you. It's about the people you're trying to help or whatever you're saying to whoever your audience is. So make it about them. Gary Vaynerchuk is another content beast online. He's got podcasts and webisodes, and he's on every social platform. He just is a content machine. So this is his original website, and it really just barfs up all his content on you. It's like, here are all my videos, all my most recent blog posts. If you went to GaryVaynerchuk.com now, it's more simple. It's just a hero image, not even a headline there. It's a video with his signature. He's got a really obvious bar there where he's asking for emails. We'd call that a call to action in the marketing world. We want you to sign up, subscribe, give me your email so I can talk to you later. And then he's got this like manifesto section below where he just sets the stage, who he is, what he's about, and another video beside it. So from Gary, I would learn simplicity, set the stage. I would learn that a video is worth 1,000 blog posts, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. If you can, please leverage video and images. Think about that more than you do text, although text is definitely not dead. And then be on all the social platforms that your audience is on, which is a big component of his personal brand. One more here for you. So this is Marie. She's another kind of like personal brand type influencer. And you're starting to probably realize a trend now. We've got some nice banner images at the top with these call to actions, and then she's got her blog posts. And her newest one, just like Gary, scrapped the blog post content and said, let me set the stage for you. Here's who I am, what I'm about, and you can dig in and discover more if you want to. So from her, I would take that. I would also take that she puts her face front and center everywhere. It's kind of like Neil Patel, if you've ever been on his site. You can't see him once and then not again, like he's everywhere on you. So get over the narcissistic component of putting your own face out there to the world, because that's not what this is about. This is about recognizability and treating yourself like a brand. So she's kind of the queen of that. Now they looked at a bunch more. They put them side by side. They did that number crunching. And this is kind of what they came out with. I don't know if you can read it, but they looked at word count and CTAs and authority proof and videos and all that. And they handed it to their designers, and their designers created the perfect personal branding homepage. So just quickly running through it, this isn't groundbreaking. This is something, though, I would say, copy, paste this format, don't change a damn thing except for the actual creative. But you're looking at simple menus, minimal text-only logos, a simple kind of call to action there with logos right beneath. And that all happens right above the fold, as we call it, or kind of that screen you see when you first load a browser without having to scroll. So those are the most important things. Have that up front and center. Then you keep scrolling. They say, call out your 3 main places you want to send people. Put up your top content. That's the most effective. Follow it up with your best testimonials. We'll talk about how to get those. And then end it off with a call to action again, just so that you can capture those emails, since that's kind of what the goal is for. So one more time, I'm going to hammer it home. Here are the 5 takeaways. I would say use a hero image. Get high-quality photos of yourself. That might be the biggest roadblock right away, because who has those just hanging around? I would recommend getting professional, like high-quality photos. Display authority and social proof. The most powerful types of this are going to be publications, if you've worked with media before, pictures of yourself with influencers, or endorsements from your network. So try and get as many of those as possible. Collect emails. I can't say it enough, please. That is what's going to keep people coming back to you and what you can remarket. Your homepage is not your blog. Don't just throw up all your most recent posts, because chances are your most recent stuff isn't your strongest stuff. At Vendasta, a lot of our posts, the best performing posts are ones we wrote years ago. So consider that. And then lastly, add your own twist. Use the structure I showed you, but improvise and add your own twist to the content itself, the imagery and all that kind of thing. So that's it for website. I want to move on because we got a lot to get through. The next phase is reputation here. So reputation online is basically the same as what it is offline. It's what are people saying about you? Is it good? Is it not so good? And Vendasta started as a reputation management company. That was in our earlier years. We built a platform for businesses to monitor their online reputation. I think, if you want to craft a good reputation, you need to know what people are saying about you first. And this is kind of the light way 101 to do that. Who's set up Google Alerts before? If you've never set up a Google Alert, go to Google Alerts. If you're logged in with your Google account, it actually starts suggesting these things. It suggests your name, it suggests your email, so that when Google finds a new mention of it, they will alert you, and you can look into it and see kind of what people are saying. Again, Vendasta doesn't really have a consumer product. You can't go to our website and just start using our reputation management tool, although maybe Brendan will cut you a deal. I don't know. Talk to him after this. But once you start finding these messages, you obviously want to know what to do with them. And we've written a lot of content on how to respond to good reviews, not so good reviews. For personal branding, I might pare it down to this. I would say take the great reviews and use them in cross-pollinate. Use them in all your marketing as much as possible, because those are some of the most important pieces. And then say thanks. Have a conversation with that person and see if you can use it in other places. If something bad comes up about yourself, I would say don't ignore it ever. It's other people are seeing it too, so you don't just want to brush that one under the rug. I would take the time to respond, but do it privately. Try and take any kind of conversation like that to email or to inbox or to a face-to-face conversation, if you can try and navigate that difficult conversation sometimes. So that's pretty general advice, but the main one there is just don't ignore it. We have to address negative feedback when it happens. Probably a lot of you don't have either of those problems, though, because no one's saying anything about you. Hey, I don't mean that offensively. This is likely the next question you're going to get, right? What if I don't have any testimonials? What do I do? Good question. Who has a LinkedIn account? Probably most of you have a LinkedIn account. I would start there. There are a couple ways that you could start getting feedback on LinkedIn. One, LinkedIn just allows you to ask for it. You can go to anybody's page, ask for a recommendation if you think they're going to give you a good one, and it'll alert them, and you can go through that process. My preferred way, that's needy to me. That other one seems a little bit needy. I would rather go to people's pages and start leaving them positive feedback, because this is a good karma thing. Usually when you use and leave positive feedback, you're going to start getting it back in droves. So this is just examples of feedback I've left my marketing team, and you start to get these replies coming in, which is great. I would call that structured, a structured place to gather reviews. Sometimes reviews don't happen like that. They happen in the wild, or a testimonial. You might hear somebody say something good about you. Always be listening for that and see if you can use it anywhere. This is an example. Jackie said something really nice about me at a presentation at a conference, and I heard it on a video later, and so I'm like, that's great. I'm taking that and putting that on my website. Thanks, Jackie. I don't really know what driving eyeballs means, but I'll still use it. Sounds good. So keep an eye out for that. Use that whenever you can. That's reputation. So findability. Findability is really just when people Google you, what do they find? Who's Googled themselves before? Everybody, probably, even if you don't want to admit it. What do you find? Do you own the whole first page of Google, or is other stuff popping up? Now, I'm lucky. My name's kind of weird. There aren't that many Devin Hennigs out there. But if you're a Tom Smith, we'll talk about it. This is just really important. You want to own as many of these results that show up so you can control what the perception of your brand is. So yeah, what if I have a common name, or what if someone owns my name? What if I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger or something? I'd say choose a new one. I'm only half kidding. you've got to be really like honest with yourself on the losing battles you want to fight. You can try and do all you know, get deep into SEO, search engine optimization, and figure out a way to build up those pages that are just lurking at the bottom of the search results, or you could start with something fresh. Personally, I mentioned at the start of the talk that I'm a writer. So early on, I decided to use a pen name, and people ask me all the time, they're like, why do you use a pen name? And it was honestly because of Google. I wanted a name that would be kept separate from my business identity and everything that I do at Vendasta, and that would be horror related and something totally separate. So my pen name is D. Melhoff, my mother's maiden name. I thought it sounded creepy. It's great. I own the first page of both Devin Hennig and D. Melhoff, which is very important to me. Two totally separate personal brands. This is my professional brand. This is my weird, it's dark brand. I don't know. Go buy my books. Anyways, so you want to get to this point, right? There are tools that can help you. I would love, you know, I'm just going to recommend a few that at least Vendasta doesn't compete with really directly. Brand Yourself, I can recommend. It's actually really user-friendly, and it's meant for personal brands. So they'll give you a reputation report. You have to go in and like choose which of the search results are yours and which ones aren't, and they'll help you like do some easy SEO things to try and bump it up, and they'll give you a nice little page that's like from their site that ranks well as well. So it all, you know, this is a pretty good platform. I'm not going to really go through the screenshots or anything, but I would, if anything you take away from that, do what it takes to own the first page of Google. Brand yourself, more content, change your name. I don't care. Just own it. So the last phase that we can talk about here is awareness, and there's a ton under this category. I mean, there's no shortage of ways to market yourself. So what I want to focus on really specifically is some really smart advice from one of our best friends at Vendasta. Dennis Yu is somebody who lives in the States, but he's spoken at our yearly conferences. He's come around the office a lot. He's a really sharp guy, and he's locked down personal branding on social media better than anybody else I've ever met, seen at a conference, anything. And what Dennis talks about a lot to begin with is, first off, digital plumbing. Because there's a lot of confusion over, what do I need? Do I need a Facebook page? Do I need a Twitter business account or a Twitter personal page? Like, there's so many like weird questions you don't want to deal with. Dennis figured it out. He's got some guides. I can probably share those with you right after this presentation. It's just a library of information. Like, there's too much for me to even touch the tip of the iceberg here. But this is an important one. A lot of you probably you have a personal profile page that grandma can see. Maybe you have a company page for your business. But there's this other third one that's important for personal brands at least, which is having a public figure page for yourself. And we'll see why that's important in a few steps. So let's say you get that set up. You got your digital plumbing ducks in a row. The next question, of course, is what do I do for content? What content works the best? And this is a damn tough question. According to Dennis, there are a couple main things that you could do in terms of strategies for your content. You could have a content calendar. This is probably what most marketers do in here. Like, you sit down on a Sunday night and you hammer out the week's posts and you schedule them, and you're like, okay, I've taken care of this week. That's my calendar. I'm moving onward. He says that's important, but it's actually the least important in his eyes, and mine too. I'm going to echo this. When it comes to strategically marketing yourself through especially Facebook paid platform. So what I want to talk about is the topic wheel immediately here. So topic wheel is a good exercise anybody in this room can do. Take a piece of paper and put yourself in the middle of it. Then around yourself, put the 6 topics you care about most. It could be anything. This is Mark Lack, who is a motivational speaker. You know, Mark's things could be public speaking, business rock stars, motivational speaking, that kind of thing. And the important part that you have to tie it to is the idea that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend your most time with. So think about what you care about. Think about the fact that you are really who you hang out with. and do this exercise. Take all those things that you said you care about. Think of the first 3 people that come to mind for every category and put them in those boxes. Then check off who you know. I mean, you're not going to know everyone if you're listing big names or celebrities, but that doesn't matter yet. And then you go back and you put those people around your bubble graph here. So what you end up with is you end up with topics you care about and personal brands who are your ambassadors or people that can help you make a name for yourself in those areas. This is the grunt work, but video is Dennis's main thing, and he says for each one of those, make a video. What this helps with is that the next phase is to promote each of those videos for $1 a day and find the winners and find the losers. Humans are really bad at guessing what the best content is. So you just want to make as many videos as possible. He's got this technique where it's $1 a day, and over the course of 7 days, you will find which ones are great and which ones suck. And the idea is build a list of greatest hits. So you're going to end up killing almost 90% of the videos because they just didn't work. They suck. But 10%, even 2% are going to be unicorns that will work for you in perpetuity and provide a lot of value. So you can't read this. It's kind of what I just said. It's like you're going to end up killing 90% of your posts, eventually keeping 2% if you follow his method. This is a really important graph that I want to share and you guys should look at. It's just Facebook benchmarks. So this is what you should judge it against. Are you getting $3 leads? Are you getting 67 cents per like on your page? All these kind of things are chances are if you took this home and you've been running Facebook campaigns and you compared them, you'd be like, holy crap, I'm not doing so good. And that's the point of producing a lot of content and testing it over time, because only 2% really wins out in the end. So that's the topic wheel. I'm not actually going to go through the rest of Dennis's stuff because we'll be here forever, but he takes all those videos, he puts them into a grid. He will tell you that these are the type of videos you should be building to build a nice funnel, and then he talks about how you can, set it all up so that they're showing at the right time to the right people, and that's what it all kind of gets messy like this, but it's very smart. So the good news for you today is we've been running a contest, and I'm going to open it up to everybody here, which is to win a 1-hour personal branding session with Dennis to help you do all this really complicated stuff, because God, we've got a whole marketing team downstairs working on it right now, and it's not easy. So Dennis is willing to spend an hour with you, and trust me, an hour of Dennis's time is like an hour with Tony Robbins. It'll be the best thing. It'll change your life. And what all you need to do, so this is in coordination with our Conquer Local podcast, I need you to go to your preferred podcast provider, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, subscribe, and then after this talk, come find me in one of the breaks, show me you've subscribed, and I'll put your business card in this fish bowl. And at the end with the 50-50, I'll draw it, and you win. One of you, lucky people, will win a 1-hour session with Dennis Yu. So does that sound good? All right, cool. That's really all I had. I wanted to give you something measurable from each phase of this funnel. I hope there was something that you guys could take home, start doing, or start comparing yourself to at least. And yeah, I'm from Toronto, so I'm not here all the time, but when I am, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to grab a bite, catch up with you, connect with me on LinkedIn, all that kind of fun stuff. So thank you very much. I don't know if we do, is there questions, or it's probably done. You all want drinks. So just catch me in the break. All right, well, next up, we've got Ryan Schultz from Saskatoon's own Pistol Whips. After that, we've got a networking break, and then we'll have our panel and draw for the 50-50. So remember, you've got to be here at the very end to win the money for the 50-50, also the Dennis Yu draw. But for now, Rylan, come on up, wherever you are. There he comes. All right. Do you need this guy? Yeah, no worries. Cheers.
All right, hey. I'm just gonna get right into it. Gonna play a couple songs. Get some drinks, hang out. I said now I'm so in love with you. Whatever you wanna do is alright with me. Oh, 'cause I wanna be the one with you. Oh, I'm gonna set my life with you. Yeah. I said now since we've been together, loving you weather is all I see. So let me be the one come running to, yeah. And I wanna spend my life with you. I said now let's get together, loving you whether times are good or bad, baby, happy or sad. I said now ooh, oh, yeah. Loving you whether times are good or bad, baby, happy or sad. I said I won't. Now, alright. The end. Oh, there we go. Hey, thanks. Do you notice it's cutting out a little bit here? Just the guitar is turning on and off a little bit. Is that all right? We'll just roll with it. Turn your lights down low and pull back on your window curtain. You let your moon come shining well into your life again. I'm saying, oh, yeah, oh, it's been a long, long time. I'm trying to get through to you, girl. Yeah, I know I was never on time, yeah. I still wanna get through to you, girl. On time, oh. 'Cause I wanna give you some love. And I wanna give you some good love. I wanna give you some good love, and yeah. So turn your lights down low. Never try to resist, oh no, no. Let my love come shining, yeah, into your life again. Oh, saying, oh, I love you. Yeah, I want you to know right now, oh, saying, oh, oh, I love you, yeah. And I want you to know right now that oh, that I wanna give you some love. I wanna give you some good love, and oh I, I wanna give you some good love, and yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. 'Cause I wanna give you some love. I wanna give you some good love, and and I, yeah, oh yeah. Well, I wanna give you some good love, and yeah, oh yeah. Well, thank you. Well, I guess I'm just doing a few songs and then coming back and doing a few more. So here's one more for you. You're looking right through me. You're all I'm trying to be. Your eyes are exciting. Show me where they have been. 'Cause you're all I want. Yeah. You're all I want. Yeah, oh, you're my color in this world of gray. Yeah, oh, you're all I want. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, I try to play this cool. There is no fool fooling you. You just smile at me. The world's as it should be, yeah, 'cause you're all I want. You're all I want. Yeah, oh, you're my color in this world of gray. Yeah, oh, you're all I want. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh. You're all I want. You're all I want. Yeah, oh, you're my color in this world of gray. Yeah, oh, you're all I want. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Hey, thanks. How? Yeah, just keep going. All right. Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you, but found to the core, and I was soft inside. There was something going on. You do something to me that I can't explain. Pull me closer, and I feel no pain. Every beat of my heart, we got something going on. So tender love is blind. It requires a dedication. Oh, this love we feel needs no conversation. We're right together, yeah, oh. Making love with each other, yeah, oh. Islands in the stream, that is where we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world where we rely on each other, yeah, oh. From one lover to another, yeah, oh. When talking to you and you head it out, everything means nothing if you got no one, and you do walking tonight, slowly losing sight of the real thing. That won't happen to us, and we've got no doubt. Too deep in love, got no way out. Yeah, the message is clear. This could be the year for the real thing. No more will you cry. I won't hurt you never. Start and end as one. In love forever, we will ride together, yeah, oh. Making love with each other, yeah, oh. Islands in the stream, that is where we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world where we rely on each other, yeah, oh. From one lover to another, yeah, oh. Islands in the stream, that is where we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world where we rely on each other, yeah. Where we rely on each other, yeah. From one lover to another. From one lover to another, oh. Yeah, oh, oh, oh. Hey, thank you so much. I'm Rylan from the band called the Pistol Whips here in Saskatoon. And if anybody wants a free CD, if you got a CD player still, if you own one, I've got a bunch of those. Got some vinyl too, so I'll be back to play some songs in a bit. Am I or no? What am I doing it all now? What am I doing it all now? You want me to just do them all now? Rather than later? Okay, that's better? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, all right, we'll do more. Okay, I guess we're going to do them all together. Doing them all now. Hey, check. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Head down, lie down. Remember how things used to be, yeah. Bow out and lie down. Remember, it's just you and me. I just want you closer. Is that alright? Yeah. I want you closer tonight. So grab my last request and just let me hold you. Don't shrug your shoulders. Lay down beside me. I'm sure I can accept that we're going nowhere. For one last time, let's go there. Well, lay down beside me and oh, is that alright? Yeah. I want you closer tonight. Well, I've found that I'm bound to run it down. It's a one-way road. And I realize all about your lies, but I'm no wiser than the fool that I was before. I just want you closer. Is that alright? Yeah. I want you closer tonight. Yeah. Oh. Well, grant my last request and just let me hold you. Well, don't shrug your shoulders. Lay down beside me. And sure I can accept that we're going nowhere. For one last time, let's go there. Lay down beside me and oh, is that alright? Yeah. I want you closer tonight. I just want you closer. Is that alright? Yeah. I want you closer tonight. So grant my last request and just let me hold you. Don't shrug your shoulders. Yeah. Lay down beside me. And sure I can accept that we're going nowhere. For one last time, let's go there. Lay down beside me and oh, is that alright? Yeah, I want you closer tonight. Thank you.
Is it coming through the other speakers too? Like normally? Just like a little like distorted in there.
All right, here's a PG-13 song for all of you guys. I didn't write it though. Here's some Kanye West. Always find something wrong. You've been putting up with my shit just way too long. I'm so gifted at finding what I like the most. So I guess it's time for us to have a toast. Here's a toast for the douchebags. Here's a toast for the assholes. Here's a toast for the scumbags. Every one of them that I know. Here's a toast for the jerk-offs that never take work off. Well, baby, I've got a plan. Run away as fast as you can. So she went through my email. Sent this picture of my dick. I don't know what it is with females, but I ain't too good with that shit. See, I could have a good girl, still be addicted to them hood rats. And I blame everything on you. At least you know that's what I'm good at. Cause I always find something wrong. Oh, you've been putting up with my shit just way too long. so gifted at finding what I like the most. Yeah. So I guess it's time for us to have a toast. It's a toast to the douchebags. It's a toast for the assholes. It's a toast for the scumbags. And every one of them that I know. It's a toast for the jerk-offs who never take work off. Oh, baby, I've got a plan. Run away as fast as you can. Just run away. Yeah, just run away. Oh, oh baby, I've got a plan. So to run away as fast as you can. Thank you. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and say that wearing a suit jacket in the middle of summer was a bad idea. It's a bad choice. Milk was a bad choice. Milk was a bad choice. It's okay, the suit jacket's on. There's nothing I can do about it now. I'm going to play one more song for you. How about it's a sing-along? So if you know it, sing along. I'm looking at this table here. You guys look like you can sing. I think you can. Clock strikes upon the hour, and the wind begins to fade. Still enough time to figure out how to chase my blues away. I've been alright up till now. It's a light of day that shows me how. So when the night falls, you're my lonely heart calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Oh yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me, yeah. I run around and lost my senses, spinning through the crowd. Sooner or later, feeling the ends, and I wind up feeling down. Oh, I need a man who can take a chance on a love that burns hot enough to last. So when the night falls, my lonely heart calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me, yeah. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Oh, yeah. I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Somebody who, yeah. Hold me in his arms. Oh, somebody who, oh, yeah. Somebody who loves me. I need a man who can take a chance on a love that burns hot enough to last. So when the night falls, key change part, everybody hit it with me now. My lonely heart goes, yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. Oh, with somebody who loves me. Yeah. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Oh, oh, yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. So don't you wanna dance? Say you wanna dance. Don't you wanna dance? Oh, oh, don't you wanna dance? Say you wanna dance with me, baby. Don't you wanna dance? Oh, me, oh, 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 Thanks so much, everybody. I'm Rylan for the Pistol Whips. Let's drink some beer.
Hey guys, you still have another half an hour to grab some drinks. I want to encourage everyone to grab 50/50 tickets if you haven't already done so. It all goes to charity. This guy right here. Oh. Oh. Ben there? Oh, Ben's there. He's got stuff. Here, can you open it up? Can you guys hear me now? Is that a little bit louder? How am I doing? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there it is. Hi. Oh, I have the controls now too. This is great. I'm just going to remind everyone we're going to get started on the panel with yours truly in about a half an hour. So go grab drinks. All of the money goes to charity and they are just cheap as heck. And also go grab your 50/50 tickets. Again, Children's Wish Foundation, Ronald McDonald House, it all goes to a good cause. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a half hour.
It looks good. Test, test, test. Test, test. Test. Testing. Yep. Testing. And mic. Test. Headset test. Headset.
Check, 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 check. Hello.
I'll get you to say something. Something, or more than something, possibly.
Test, test.
Check, check. Check. I can just hold it. Is it better if I hold it?
1, 2, 3. You good? Okay.
As well? Okay. All right, shall we head up? Okay, we can probably find our way this way. Can you guys hear me? Oh. Hot mic, hot mic. All right, we're going to get started in just a minute here as our panelists come sit down. Oh, you guys are so attentive. I'm not used to this. Ideas on Tap's a little bit more rowdy usually. Please grab a seat.
Hey, why do you guys get microphones?
Oh, you get the lav mic. You're a hand talker, so you're all good. I'm the same way. I actually had to get rid of the hand mic because I felt like since I'm not necessarily going to convey the motivational speech that you guys are looking for, I might as well just look like I can or look like I can sing like Britney Spears. I figure it's all in the image, right? You got to believe it. So I want to start by thanking Ryland for the set that he put together. A round of applause for him.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
He's got his brand all taken care of, hey?
Well, you know, do I?
Yeah.
I mean, was that I do? Okay, good. Good, I do. I do. I absolutely do. Thank you.
We'll get on that in a second, too. Okay. This guy's got CDs that he has brought here and is giving away for free. Am I getting that right?
Oh, we just put them at the front. Grab it on your way out. If you have a car that has a CD player still, that's the real kicker.
That's the trick. Or you can find them online, too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that Brand Yourself website that Devin brought up, was everybody here for that? Did anyone run their name? I'm told I have unprofessional photos. So if anyone wants to look at that up, I'll certainly be looking up later. So what I learned from that is I've done a lot of media work, but I've been bolstered by a brand a lot of the time. My name's Danny Mario, and I am the director of PR with Vendasta now, but I've worked previously for CBC as a reporter and an anchor, and for CTV as the director of news and public affairs. It's been a long time since I've been in front of the microphone, so bear with me on this one. I guess to set things off, the idea of brand and branding yourself was something that never crossed my mind, really, in that really serious sit down and figure it out kind of way. Has anyone else sat down and thought long and hard about their brand? Like anyone here? Yeah? No, put up your hands. I want to see it. Well, good for you. You know, I think that we have a lot to learn from what Devin provided, and we do have a lot to learn from our panelists here today. We do have 3 incredible people from different parts of our communities here in Saskatoon, and we are just so lucky to have all 3 of them here today. Ryland Schultz is the frontman of the Pistol Whips and also enjoys his own musical career.
Yeah, I do the acoustic stuff kind of on the side. That's why for me it's a little bit difficult. Like if I answer questions in a weird way, it's because I don't have like a personal brand. I would say if you check out my Instagram, it's a lot of cats. It's at catdad/AF. So check it out. But no, I mean that's I wouldn't call that my personal brand. But I do a lot of this kind of branding, I think, for a band and for musicians. It's very similar to how you would build a personal brand.
Yeah, and your leadership, and we'll get to it in a little bit because I want to hear the story, and I think everyone here wants to hear it if they haven't, your connection with Jimmy Fallon. So
okay,
we'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that too. And we also have Cynthia Block here today. Our city councillor for Ward 6 made time to be here today. Thank you so much for that. Now, she and I never got the opportunity, I never had the opportunity to be mentored by Cynthia, is the way that I should put it. She was an anchor at CTV. She owns her own small business, Block Communications, and you know, you might argue for or against this, but she's built her personal brand for years through her charity work and really her good work in the community. So thank you so much for being here today. Yeah. And then we have Megan Kardash. I've known Megan for about a decade, and this is a woman who has done a lot. She's a writer, a musician, a stylist, which I've got to get her to tackle my closet one day, my God.
I bet you've got some goodies in there. I love your skirt.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Some that you might just throw right in the trash can, how not
Let
to
me
wear
go through
or
it.
what not to wear. But Megan's, she's done a lot of lifestyle blogging with The Rooster and Our Collective Muse, and she's helped produce the reality TV series Nightclub Confidential.
Yeah, I was a field producer on there. And actually, funny story, Ryland, I wrote the theme song for the show as well.
No.
With my
Still
brother.
love that song.
And it's a good song.
It
Whatever,
is.
it's an okay
It
jam.
is.
And Ryland sung it.
I sang on
Yeah.
it. It sounds more like an auto-tuned version of myself, but I
It
think that
is
was
an
the
auto-tuned
vibe.
version of
The vibe
yourself,
we were going
dude.
for. It was about a nightclub, so that's what we were
Great.
doing.
Well, now we know the
I
expectation.
also have a connection.
No. Were you caught on
My
camera?
Chucks are my in-laws.
No, they're not. Oh, I followed them around like a weirdo
Yeah, no,
behind a
Nat and
camera.
Byron are my sister and brother-in-law.
I really like them, genuinely. Yeah. I do.
Shoo. Welcome to Saskatoon, right?
There it
But
is.
if you're talking
Yeah,
about
no
personal
kidding.
branding, it starts with the rumors. We're all from Saskatchewan for the most part. We know this. Megan, also, I got to do a plug on your current blog right now because I just love it to death.
Thanks.
She does a blog called Sneakers and Lipstick, and it is a really frank look at life. I really appreciate some of the parenting pieces that she puts out there.
Thanks,
You guys have to check it out when you get a moment. Now, we will open the floor to questions. Ben, can we do that? Can we do the catch box? Awesome. I'm going to start things off, but I really want you guys to steal the conversation here. We've got great people in front of us that can teach you a lot. So I'll ask a few questions, and then we have this squishy little microphone. If you guys haven't seen it before, it is this big squishy box that actually acts as a microphone. We'll throw it around. It'll be lots of fun. So to start things off, what does personal branding mean to each of you? Because I know it's kind of a weird term if you haven't thought about it a lot. Rylan, maybe starting with you.
Well, personal branding, I mean, like I said, I think these days anyway, I find that I think about branding a lot more in terms of my band that I'm working on right now. But I mean, I think that it's kind of your public persona, I guess, to me. I would say it's, what you put out there, what's online when people search you, when they find you, what do they see first? What's the first thing that comes up? If somebody just hears your name or hears a blurb, because that's usually how it happens. I mean, the guy earlier talked about it. It's usually somebody just hears you in passing or hears a song or hears about you and they just go and check you out or Google you, right? So, yeah. For me, I haven't Googled myself for a long time. I was gonna say recently, but
Who's Googling Rylan right now?
I don't know what the first. If you Google Rylan Schultz, I have honestly no idea what to tell you what would come up. But if you Google, like maybe Facebook, but if you Google the Pistol Whips, I think we've at this point made sure that full page is like our Facebook, our goes links to our website and that kind of stuff.
So Rylan just becomes really synonymous with that band brand right now.
Yeah,
that's
it
your
has
journey
been for
right
the
now.
last little bit. I've definitely, at some point, I think I will do a bit of my own solo music that's not the Pistol Whips, but yeah, I think for right now it's kind of where it is. So.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
You guys are doing
And
great.
most of it'll be Pistol Whip stuff that comes up, hopefully.
Hopefully. Let's Google him. We can get a few drink tickets out of the guy for
somebody.
sure. Cynthia, what about for you? What does personal branding mean for you?
Hello, you got me? Okay. Well, unfortunately, I think if you Googled me now, maybe fire pits would come up. So wasn't exactly necessarily sort of my idea of how that would go. And unlike Rylan, my situation is quite different. My background was doing the news. I was the 6 o'clock news anchor for 12 years. And I went on to start my own company, but I also did quite a bit of on-air work through that. And I think that my personal branding I sort of fell into after all those years of being on the air at CTV. And in those years, it wasn't the multi-channel universe in the same way that we understand it today. So everybody knew Rob McDonald and Cynthia Block. You could not walk down the street or go for a coffee without people knowing you. And you get used to how you need to manage that. Actually, I always said I never had the desire to dance on barroom tables. But I did resent that I could not after that. Those kinds of things I think happen around you. And, in terms of what I learned from that in terms of personal branding is that you need to be true to yourself. One of the things that you are sort of in a position of trust. People hopefully do trust you. And then that is you can't ever break that trust. You have to make sure that what you are delivering is always as true as it possibly can be. though this does seem to be a challenge in the new reality of television. But I think that just leaps off to the next thing that you do, and whether that was through my business or through charity work or running politically, I mean, I think all of those same values hold true, and actually they're the ones that I always told my kids. You know, you never burn a bridge. You're responsible for how you behave, no matter what anybody else ever says or does. And I think that helps to build, I guess, you know, some authenticity at least, and you can always come back to that core when things get very shaky.
I think so. And Megan, for you, what does personal branding mean?
A lot of the sentiments that Cynthia said are also mine. Personal branding is the first thing that people think of when they think of you. It's a consistent part of who you are, and that's not to say that it's static. I feel like personal brands can evolve and should evolve as you do. It follows who you really are, and it's also something that the world sees of you. So you don't need to put everything out there. You can focus on the facets that you want to show, and that's what I've learned.
Yeah, and Cynthia, you touched on it about the ideas of like just the values of your parents and your family and the people around you. That becomes synonymous with your brand. And you see a lot of people now where they're like, hey, I need a photo, I need a brand that's going to make me money. And I think that at the heart of it, it does come back to that. It's your morals and what you really think you can bring to the world. If I can jump in, I'm not a journalist anymore. I can say whatever I want, Cynthia. I'm sure you enjoy the same thing to a certain degree. Megan, did you ever hit a point where you had to reassess? Where you were reassessing how you put yourself out there in that public way?
Absolutely. I was in a band for 10 years, and the first few of it were in a band called the Bloodlines. And someone knows my band?
Great
Hello.
band. Great band.
Thanks. And we had done well. We played in China, and we got nominated. Well, we won a WCMA, and things were going well. It got hard, and I thought that success was super easy, because it was in those first couple years, and I thought, I'm going to start over just with my brother. He was part of the band, and we're just going to do our own thing. And so we were coming from a place of spite, not the best way to start a personal brand. We named our new band Violent Kin. Sounds like a death metal band, possible misstep. But it was somewhere that we had to reassess what kind of music we were playing, what kind of lyrics we were going to, we're going to be super honest, we're going to burn bridges. And then after we decided to stop doing that, we had burned a few bridges, and you had to swim. And then I decided to become a parent, and it was a whole new ball game. I was a blogger and doing the TV show. It was all a personal evolution, but there were conversations that had to happen. Okay, so now what do we do? I couldn't do, I was a brownie leader too through all of this. So some of the songs, I'm like, but anyway. Yes, there was an evolution, and one of the conversations that had to happen was with the blog mates that I had with our collective muse. It was a group of 12 women, and we decided to focus on what we were going to do, who we were going to reach, even just the name of the blog. Everything had to be kind of reassessed, and it was a new direction, and it was a new facet of myself to put out there. And being a mom, I had to decide, am I going to show my children? A lot of people have issues with privacy, stuff like that. I don't. My kids have Instagram accounts. But yeah, I did have to decide that.
And you can imagine they're the cutest kids in the world. They have the best outfits.
They do dress well.
Yeah, they do dress well. Did you ever have to censor yourself? Did you ever feel you were censoring yourself?
So in my first band, I did feel that I was censoring myself quite a bit, because I was, any time you have a situation with group work, it has to be the voice of the entire group. And if you can't say something that's not true to the group, because it's not fair, you wouldn't want someone in the group to do that to you either. Then in the second band, it was my brother and I, we had the same feelings. It was all like very in your face. And then in the group of our collective muse, who I'm still great friends with, I left the group because I did feel like I couldn't say absolutely everything I wanted to in that group either. So I'm vegetarian. You know, there are things about me that I wouldn't want to represent the entire group of women, and also ways that I parent that are much different than other people in the group. And I just didn't want to step on anyone's toes, so I decided to do my own thing, be completely authentic, just put absolutely anything on my blog that I wanted. And it has been a little bit controversial. You know, there have been times where people don't love that I was putting an infant on the toilet. That's something I do. But it's me, you know, and if those people aren't interested, then they don't have to read my blog. It does not matter to me, honestly. And that's how you need to come in, from a perspective that you're going to find your tribe, and it's maybe not going to be the people you actually hang out with. It might be people on the other side of the globe. It might be, you know, but there are people out there that have the same feelings as you. And also, that controversy, it creates conversation. That's good.
Exactly. Now, Cynthia, your brand has been very close to home for a long time. What about you? You've done some reimagination along the way here. What's been the biggest metamorphosis for you?
Well, probably being a parent. I mean, it really informed so many of my decisions. And when I left CTV, that was really, I mean, on a good day, I got home at 7:30 and my son went to bed at 8 o'clock. I was not getting into that gig for someone else to raise my child. So back in the day, they thought, you know, nobody should have a part-time job, because really I could have worked 3 to 7. I would have been there for the 6 o'clock news. They should have been, but that wasn't the way they rolled back then. And I could not be more grateful, because it gave me opportunities to do things that, you know, when you leave the job you dreamed to do since you were a little girl, that's really hard. But it turns out that I had way more dreams to dream. And I'm glad I did that. I'm glad that I made the right decisions, you know, from the core in terms of how you move forward. And, you know, unlike my colleague, I think that I probably had a different approach in terms of how I frame those changes. And part of that, I think, comes from being in the news background, when you're trying to always be very neutral, trying to just be the messenger. And then I decided to run for politics. And it was actually, I mean, it should not have been a surprise to me, but I ran federally, for those that don't know, first of all, in 2015. And I mean, I'd always have said that if you want more women in politics, you have to be part of the solution. And I promised myself when my kids got old enough, I would run for something. So it was time's up. And I'm looking around, I'm like, well, I guess I'm picking here. But people judge you on that, right? It's like, and when you're the news person, you're in their living room every day. They think that you will agree with them. Whatever it is that people believe, they think that you agree with them. And for the most part, I usually said the people's points of view, maybe because I was in journalism for as long as I was. I don't really have I'm not particularly partisan. So, but in many ways, I'm really glad that didn't work out, because I think civic politics suits me better. Not to be confused with easy. So, yeah, there's lots of controversial things we have to deal with as well. But that was probably the biggest one, where it was a little bit of an eye-opener, where, you know, I generally, and everything else I did, seemed to always have, you know, a welcome smile from folks. And it wasn't always that way.
So do you find yourself, even in your counselor position, suppressing maybe some of that personality in the way that we sort of had to in anchoring, right? You smile and nod a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's been actually a very interesting process on that as well, because people make very good points, and you want to represent your constituents the best you can. Whoever your audience is, you try to do the best for them. But your audience doesn't always agree with each other. And so at the end of the day, when those decisions are really tough, I remember having the long conversation with my husband about this a few months into my new job, and we both agreed that in the end of the day, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror. And as long as I can look myself in the mirror, then I think I'm doing the best I can. And after that, the constituents will have to decide.
Yeah, you can't please everyone all the time. Rylan, the thing that I find really interesting about you is I feel like you've spent a lot of that limited energy that you have in a day building a group. Do you feel like you lost anything in that?
No, I don't. No. No, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, it's, you know, you are with a group, you make decisions as a group. I mean, there's always group dynamics. You're always trying to, like Megan said, you got to try and like please everybody and try and make sure that everybody's represented. Sometimes somebody has to make a tough call, but you know, you do it for the best of hopefully the group and for the end result, and you know, not for yourself. So
I think there's a lot of selflessness in what I'm hearing from all of you, really, in different ways, right? Now, I don't want to steal all the conversation here, and of course, we do want to spend a little bit more time yakking. Are there any questions from the audience here? Anyone that want to catch that squishy box? I put that the wrong way, didn't I? So maybe, segue, have any of you guys made any, how shall we say, missteps along the way? Rylan?
I mean, I feel like for me, it's a little bit different. Again, with the personal branding, I mean, it's more of like maybe when I think of that, like business decisions. But I mean, in terms of branding, it is the same. Like with our last album, it was the first album that came out that was with a Juno Grammy, you know, awarded producer. It was our first one with a record label. It was our first big one. And at that point, we had a lot of different songs, and you kind of have to pick like, what's the first song that goes to radio? What's the first one? What's the first thing that everybody, what's your first impression?
What a great problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's good. But at the same time, you know, you kind of have to say, oh, do you pick your, you know, catchiest, poppiest song, and do you try and get that audience, or do you, you know, pick your heaviest rock song and go for rock radio? And I feel like maybe in that realm, I maybe second guess some of the choices we made. But I mean, we made them as a group, so that's, you know, we ended up where we ended up. So
it's almost like the politics, isn't it? Painting yourself with a brush, and then you go, okay, how much is this going to define me?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to pick, but I mean, we made our decisions, and it is what it is. So I wouldn't call it a misstep. I think it was all good. Sometimes you have to second guess, and you maybe, you know, from those decisions, you see how that played out, and you adjust. You get to, you know, take those things and improve yourself for next time.
I'm going to come back to something that I really want to talk about, and that is a story that we reported on about you and the Jimmy Kimmel incident. I think I can't let this panel end without the Jimmy Kimmel incident. So, oh, do we have a question?
Got a question, nice.
Oh, good. This is suspense. I love it.
Okay.
Who's got the squishy thing?
Oh, talk.
Yeah,
you got to like hold it.
Sure,
It's very
point
odd.
it out to everybody else that I've got a squishy box.
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't know if I.
You don't get to be Britney Spears.
All right, now that I've got this thing, I don't know if I should ask a question or consult a physician. The one thing I wanted to ask, well, just a general question for the panel there. When you're coming up with your personal brand there, I mean, when you taking a good hard look at yourself and how you're selling yourself, did you guys find it more limiting, or did you find it more freeing to find out exactly what your brand was?
Well, I honestly don't know how to answer that specifically. I mean, for me, I feel I kind of fell into it. But one thing that I thought about before I came here today that I don't want to leave this panel without saying that might sort of fit into what you're asking. I did a lot of work with other people who are trying to use the media or to deliver messages to stakeholders. That's sort of what my business has been about for the last, 15 years almost. And it was always surprising to me how people get in their own way when they're trying to promote their brand. They think that it's about them. That and I mean, when you're a rock band, yes, or a pop band, all that stuff.
Yeah, whatever
it's probably a different approach. But if you're a business trying to get your name out there and you're wondering, for example, why doesn't the media cover the good stuff? Look at all this awesome stuff we're doing. Why aren't they covering how awesome we are? What people want to know is what you are doing for others. Like Vendasta is creating amazing employment in our city. So there's a story. Vendasta is the leading edge in the tech sector in our city. We have all of these really cool stories, but it's about us. It's about someone else. And invariably, I would have clients who didn't understand that it's how you are helping your client, how you are helping your community, how you are positioning yourself to do well for others that helps you to inherit the great PR and the branding that you're looking for. And I think I personally have found that. I think you accidentally learn that by being involved in the media all those years, and media's not going to touch that story. And I know at City Council when somebody says something like Gong Show, well, that's going to be in a clip for sure. Like, I get it. Like, I know exactly how it's going to be framed. So I'm cognizant of that when I speak. I'm cognizant of that when I'm trying to help others develop a brand, that I might not understand your story perfectly, but I think I can do a pretty good job of helping point you in a direction that helps you to get out of your own way so that you can get the most amount out of your own brand. So, and just a little side tip, if you're sponsoring the Queen City Marathon, do not show up in a three-piece suit. Just saying. It's again about being appropriate in the moment. People want to be like, I'm all this, I'm a part of a really big company, so I need to look a certain way. But you need to be appropriate in the moment. So there was lots of that too, like just understanding that everyone, no matter who you are, you're just a person. And people like to know that you are like them. And so the more we behave like we are so much better than other people, I think that it gets in the way of promoting your brand. And so I know that it may not be the same across all industries, but I've certainly found that with the folks that I've worked with. Anyway, I'm done.
Such good advice.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to touch that one?
I feel like you covered it.
It's almost like she does it for a living, hey?
What was the exact, at the end of the question, what did you say? Did you find that you get in the way or that you had to limit yourself?
I don't want to talk to you. You pointed out that I have a squishy box. The question was, well, I'm an actor, and I'm also trying to start my own business as well there, and it's just been tough trying to get a brand out there because you want to try to be as versatile as possible. When you find your personal brand and all that, when you're working towards it, did you find that it was more of a freeing experience or more of a limiting thing when you found, okay, I can do that, but I'm this, but I'm not that kind of
Right. I feel like in the early stages, and Megan, you might say one way or another too, like in the early stages, it's best to take like, I think everybody as a musician, I don't want people are like, oh, what kind of music do you make? I'm like, all music, like don't make me say a genre. Like I don't want to, because I don't want to be like, well, we're heavy rock or we're alternative rock or we're alt pop. Like I don't want to say, because it's not really any of that or all of that at once. But at some point, you do have to, when you're getting going, you do have to stand out in a crowd. You do have to pick something. You do have to pick the thing that's you. You got to kind of figure out what that is.
Going to a show, no one's going to go to a show that's genreless. I'm not going to a show just with a band name because I don't want to see a country act really.
Yeah. So I think the quick and short answer is that I would say that as a person that's developing your personal brand, you might want to say, I don't want to like limit myself to something, but that's probably the easiest way to blend in with everything. So it's probably better, and I'm probably saying this as much to myself right now as anybody here, is like, pick the one thing that's like, that you're really good at, that makes you stand out. Even if you feel like it's like, I don't want to be pigeonholed, that might be the thing that kind of, makes you stand out. So as long as it's like a positive trait, I guess, Yeah.
It's hard when you're an actor, though, right? Because you do want to be all things.
Yeah, versatility
That's the whole point of being an actor.
Yeah.
I'm not one.
It's a positive
I've
trait.
tried. I'm terrible.
I don't know. She did pretty well. Apparently, she did some videos here, and they did well.
Yeah, I can do like on-camera stuff,
Yeah.
but not like what you're doing. But as you're forming your brand, you're like your online presence. Then.
Well, I just came down here to figure, well, the personal branding and all that as well, it's something that you need. I know that out in the market and all that there. I just find it kind of difficult to, the same thing you just brought up there, I just don't want to pigeonhole myself.
Something that might be helpful is looking for mentors, not just in the city, but looking, to people in film whose path would you most like to follow? See what they're doing, see how they're marketing themselves, and sort of build from that. It's a similar thing that I do with my clients who I style. They say, I don't know what I want, I don't even know my own style. We look at outfits of different styles, and they say, oh, I'm kind of attracted to that. I like the way she's doing blah, 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 and we combine that. So that might be a helpful avenue for you.
Yeah, I would say as an actor, this is just what makes me think of, and I am not in that business, but I would say, like, I still think at the end of the day, as many cool movies as he's been in, like Christopher Walken is always like Christopher Walken. And even like, Ryan Reynolds was himself, but then he's like kind of got some other things, and now he's just Ryan Reynolds again in like a costume. So I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, the people who really do stand out in that business specifically are the people who are the most themselves. And yeah, you might be like Adam Sandler and just always be Adam Sandler, and maybe that doesn't like, pan out in the long term, but he's still, he's still on Netflix. He's still doing his thing. So yeah, I think in that case, the people that, stick around and that are the most memorable are the people that you're just like, I think in the movie business, it is viewed as a negative to always be that person, to be themselves, that actor that can only play themselves. But if you think about it, that's so many successful actors and stuff like that. So I don't know, pick your strengths and kind of go with that, even if you have multiple ones, I would say.
That's great advice. And I think, you know what, we can all take something from that. Like, we all run the risk of being typecast. And, at the same time that you're trying to build a brand on what you believe in and stand out against the people that are your competitors, let's say, you're also trying to avoid getting pigeonholed. What's the loudest you guys have ever had to be to make a point that you really believed in?
So loud, like the loudest concert.
I was gonna. Well,
no, sorry,
can we segue back to Jimmy Fallon? Darn it, I just can't get to it.
Okay, let's get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way.
It's too good.
He took a picture of me off the internet with fog out of my mouth. It was a thank you note about like how the winter makes you always look like you're vaping. And it was like a stock picture of me that a friend had taken and like sold to some company. So they like took it, and it was a picture of me with my hands in my pockets and my breath out my mouth, and that was it. Then somebody tagged me on Facebook, and it was like, hey, you were on Jimmy Fallon last night, and then yeah, it kind of snowballed from there, and we tried to like get on the show. We came close. We talked to the producers, and it was like, if Ariana Grande cancels on Friday, then you guys are in. So she didn't, and hey, here we are. But it was a cool story.
Darn it.
So
If you market yourself with one of these microphones.
Right? Dang it.
Just
Headset.
saying, very contemporary.
Phil Collins.
Clip-on ponytail, too.
Yeah, exactly. And the ponytail. You can get started on that. You know what? We're almost out of time here, but I really want to go through the panel because I want everyone here to take a little bit home from each of you, which I think is what we all hope to do with personal branding. Megan, is there any tip that you have for the crowd here that they can take home and get to right away?
Well, something that I didn't do until maybe 2 weeks ago is put a face to my blog. It was just sneakers and lipstick on this pink background. What was I doing? It should be me. It's mine. So putting a face, that's who people want to connect with. A lot of my friends maybe didn't even realize that it was me. I got a lot of reads just from other traffic, Google and stuff. And why wasn't I doing that? And also interacting with the people that you want to create a conversation with. So you have to sometimes start that conversation. And if that's commenting on someone else's status that is also a blogger in your same niche, and developing conversations. Maybe you're not bloggers. Okay, so but starting conversations with whatever industry you're in, I think that's important instead of just waiting for people to come to you.
It's great advice. How about for you, Cynthia?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, just a tip.
Oh, I'm really loud.
And you know what? You have long days too, so I don't blame you. Just a tip that people in the room can take away related to their personal brand that maybe they can just get right to tomorrow.
I think I'll just be a broken record. Know your audience. Mm-hmm. Know your audience. Play to your audience. Know your audience. I think that's the trick to actually many things in life.
For me, I would say, and this is even something that I struggle with, even as a band, I mean, in the world of social media that we live in, I would say my biggest tip is like that you have to be more active on social media than you want to be. It's like an unfortunate fact of reality that like you might not think that somebody wants to watch you make pasta, but you would be effing surprised that somebody wants to watch you make pasta or something like that. If you're trying to build your personal brand, if you're trying to like reach people and get people to kind of follow you or to watch you, you kind of have to overdo it. And it'll feel like you're overdoing it, but to the people that kind of catch it once in a while, it's just like, oh, here they are doing this thing. Here they are doing that thing. It's like, even, you don't want to like overdo it on the boring stuff. I was kidding about the past that don't do that. That's not my tip. But I would say,
rants,
as far as social media goes, get on your Instagram, be on your Instagram stories,
I have one more thing.
more than you think that you should, because it's going to seem annoying to you, especially like you're gonna be like, oh, who wants to watch this? Who wants to see this? But the amount that the market's so saturated that what people see is like a half or a third of what you're posting, especially if you're posting on Facebook. They choke that shit.
So what you're saying is you're all going to be watching when I post my video of composting with the worms.
Absolutely.
Oh,
gotcha.
I was going to
I
say
wanna
you having
know how
a
to
fire
do
at
it.
11:30.
I want to watch it.
So do
wanna
I,
see
which
it.
is why I'm going to post it.
Megan?
My last thing is that content is key. If you are putting things out there, content out there that is genuinely interesting for people, they're going to share it, they're going to be interested in what you're doing, whatever product you're selling. If you're doing like hair care, you need a story behind it. You know, there's always going to be a story. You just have to look for it. It's more than just about promoting product. It's the stories behind it.
It's really good advice.
Okay, the creativity is actually blowing me away. That's a bottom line here. From everyone on the panel and everything that you've asked, the creativity in the room is palpable. It's amazing.
People that are spending their Friday nights here are the
Question.
ones that care, including Darren.
Yes. The question is, like in 2 minutes or less, like a little bit meta, what is brand?
Brand is, what's the line? Who can help me with this? Where's Brandon? I feel like he could yell it out.
You're saying Brandon has the
Brandon has
knowledge
the
on
brand. He's the
Brandon?
brand king.
Come
Brandon King.
on.
Brand and king.
Two on
You're
the nose.
hiding.
There he is.
Help me with this one. Brand is what people say about you. Is that the one? I'm putting the CEO on the spot.
You're talking about if it's how you dress and how you look and how you act in public?
Yeah.
It's the brand's what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Brand is what
Nice
people
one.
say about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
I
fair.
love that. And we like to throw some it's Jeff Bezos, I assume, right? We love that guy. That guy's got a good brand, you know, this CEO of Amazon. He's got it figured out. Well, maybe not with the Alexa thing today, but anyway, everyone has missteps, which we talked about today. Now, you guys, we want you to be able to hang out. Are there any other questions for our panel? Yeah, Brady. Where's this? Oh, yeah, and trust me when I say drinks have been spilled with this thing, so I'm not an athlete.
Awesome. I really appreciate all three of you and your different perspectives. My question is, each of your personal brands seems to be an extension of having a large social network or working in a very public position. What would you recommend to people who don't work in that kind of public field or don't have a large social network? How did they get started?
Volunteer.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the way you get ahead in life is to volunteer. It's
In
also
general,
the way
yeah.
to learn so much about the people around you, the community around you, and even though you're giving a lot of your time, the next time somebody thinks of somebody that they need somebody to do something about something that you're interested in or that you're good at, oh, well, I know that guy. Here's a person for you. And that's honestly how people often hire. It's because hiring is hard. And so if you already tell me that you know somebody who'd be really good and you work with them on a board or on a big civic committee or something, I'm like, okay, it's already at the top of the pile. Yeah. So I volunteer. Volunteering will always give you way more than it will give you it, and I don't even necessarily mean how it promotes your brand in the long run, but it inspires you to be a better person, and that often just manages to cachet into bigger things for you in your brand as well.
Also, why aren't you online?
It wasn't for me, it was just a general question.
Okay, 'cause everybody should be online,
No,
and you
I
should
do
have the
sales
best
and marketing.
SEO, and it shouldn't matter if your social network isn't great. It should be the content that you're putting out there. Everybody should have, not necessarily a blog, but some content on your website so that people can understand what you're doing and how they can hire you. And then you should maximize your SEO so that when people need something and it's you who can provide it, you're at the top of the pile there too. Yeah, online.
And
Right.
even beyond search engine optimization, I heard your question. It's also about sharing that with the people that you do want to know about what you're doing. So if you've written a really great blog and you really look up to Jeff Bezos, well, maybe that's a bad example, but you really look up to someone, throw that link out there to them. Let them
sure.
read it. That's where you build that.
Yeah.
I think, in a general sense, I mean, nailed it. First of all, volunteering. I would say even, from our music background, it's kind of the same thing. You just collaborate. You meet people. You go play an open stage. You kind of get in the scene. You just hang out where those people hang out. So whatever that looks like to your business, be there and be with those people, and just kind of like, even if you don't, want to be a social person, if you're trying to be a personal brand, I feel like you got to be a little bit. So you want to kind of like get into that place, find where the people are, and like she said, if you can help out in any way, help out, do that thing, get involved, collaborate. So.
And then every time that you do work, show up completely, because you never know what that opportunity is. You never know what that little piece of time is going to be for your future opportunities.
Yeah,
it's great
absolutely.
advice.
Absolutely.
Anyone else with any questions? It's been such a fulsome conversation. I would just say that. Oh, Brandon, catch box. you know the rule. You made that.
Egg, nice one.
My little brother can't catch. So I would just say that it's not always just, volunteer is great, but it's a big, I used to volunteer a lot, but sometimes, the thing that you can do best to help the community sometimes is if you're a business owner. So for all the small business owners in here, you guys are doing great. Fantastic. Thank you for helping the community. You're creating jobs. That's also something you can do. So I know there's a lot of small business owners here. Keep creating those jobs. You might not have time to volunteer, but you're still helping the community too.
Well, maybe that's a great way to end things here today is always be conscious of what you can give back to someone, whether that's business or that's volunteering.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for coming here
Thanks.
today. It really means the world to us. Rylan, Cynthia, Megan. Now we want to make sure that you guys still have time to grab a drink and hang out, so feel free to hang out for a little while longer. We're happy to have you here and chat with our panelists. They'll be around for a little bit too. Thank you guys so much. Wait a second, where's that Katrina of ours? We have a 50-50 draw. We have a 50-50 draw and a contest draw. Okay.
Would you mind taking a photo?
Oh, that's okay. The phone's not important, right? Yeah, of course. Okay. Oh, we're going to squeeze in for a quick photo here.
I'm going to get one portrait of you. Okay, lean in a little closer. This will be better for your social. Yes.
Okay. There we go. Sorry, we had to take a personal branding moment. Okay, so where should we begin? Who's more eager? Yes, Dennis, you.
All right, is it last minute entry? You have 10 seconds.
Anyone else? Subscribe to the blog. Oh, subscribe to the podcast. Anyone else?
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh! Okay. Oh, it's a piece of paper. Sorry I feel like I'm reading a 50-50 ticket when. Colton Wiegers? Did I nail it? Okay, good. Colton, congratulations. Come up. We'll shake your hand. This is Colton, everyone. Nice to meet you. Yeah. There's your paper. You're going to need that, hey? And the moment we've all been waiting for, the big draw. $110. Go to a bar, buy the more expensive drinks. You can get at least 3. Oh, I'm sorry for the person I just threw back. 010-7582. Now, if no one cheers, you know what's going to happen here, right? Oh, you got it! Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations! Yay! And now that other half of the money and all of the drink tickets, we paid for the booze. All of it's going to charity. So, support your local charities. Do what you can. And thank you guys all for joining us today. Go hang out.